Hello, train enthusiasts. I assume since you're here, you want to know how to print this DDA40X. So we will start a journey to print this thing because it takes me about a month to make one of these things from start to finish if I work on it like at my normal pace. I'm sure you could get it done in a week if you really tried, but with work and kids and more work, it takes a while. So I thought we would start with just printing some of your pieces. Everyone will have to find a different way to print whatever part they're printing because everyone has a different printer. Mine print out of resin. I found that the easiest way to get a solid part, one big piece, less gluing, less sanding and putty. So I use the Epax X156 with the hard resin, and it does a really good job. I've replaced the screen a couple times because I printed so much on it, but it gets it all in big pieces like this so that you can start gluing it together. What I usually start with is this center section, which is in two pieces. You can't tell from this. I think I'll find another one. I think I've got some pieces. I have lots of failed attempts. So there's a failed attempt. Had some really bad. I'd have to sand and fill for days to get that to be a usable model. But this one was FDM. This one was the regular filament style printer. Was one of my first attempts. But I do have, I think, some chunks of one somewhere. Sorry, I should have got these before. But maybe not over here. Let's check over here. Yes, here's one. So this will be one of the first pieces that you probably try and print if your printer's big enough. If not, you'll have to slice it up and glue it together to get to this step. But this is the middle engine section, and it goes together with this piece here. So this is one that broke on me because I was being careless and moving. But you can see the seam right here. I usually try and overlap the seam so that it's easy to glue, so you have a large gluing surface. You'll see these little tabs right here, these little things, those slide into the next piece, and the next piece overlaps this. So you have a big area to glue on. And when it's all together, you will end up with something like this guy. So this one's not supported yet, so you have to be careful with any force when you don't have these together. These help hold it rigid so that it doesn't sag. It hits these and braces itself against here. And eventually you will print the fuel tank, which is, I'm a mess if you can't tell. So you'll print a fuel tank. This one I print in 3 pieces with my regular bamboo printer. You can still see the line there because it hasn't been sanded very well. But the fuel tank will line up with the holes on the bottom. Those 2 holes line up with these 2 holes. And then you link it up like that. And glue it, bolt it. You can use those holes to bolt. I use the holes to get wire from this cavity to this cavity. So it goes through there, down into the tank, up and back to power the rear trucks and rear lights. I use just a regular size LED. I'll have to get the exact millimeter. But I've got LEDs in the front, back, ditch lights, holes for all of that stuff. And once you get this glued up, I reinforce it a little further with a piece of angle iron like that. It's got bolts that go through it, the body, and that piece of, I guess it's C-channel, not angle iron, but it's like this piece here. So I drill some holes in that, cut that to length, and it lives in the cavity down here. So I think that'll be a lot for people to get up to at this point. Just getting the main body printed is usually a good week's worth of printing for me on a printer that big. So if you have a smaller printer, it's going to be even longer. But then you start gluing. I use this putty. Where'd it go? This putty as a body filler. It's like a glaze spot putty. Works really good to fill in the holes, the gaps, the misprints, like even mine has misprints. There's one here, there's a pretty big hole. I'll just putty over that. and then grab some primer and head out to my painting log and hit it with some primer. And for the trucks, try not to skip around too much. It's kind of hard. But the trucks, I use like an aluminum paint. And there are 4 motors in the whole thing. So it's got 2 USA Trains motor blocks in it. They are the 3-axle motor blocks from the SD70. And what I do is I score along this line here with a razor blade and along the bottom, and I snap off this whole back piece so that it's just these 2. And cut off that wiggly thing, because it doesn't do much anyway. But that gives you these 2 motor blocks here like that, with the little stub axle in the middle. And then you take out 4 of the factory screws from the USA Trains block on each one. They look like that. And you replace them with a 5/8 4x20 screw. Like I use a Plastite screw. You can use any, hardware stores have them a lot, but this is a Plastite screw and it goes in the factory hole where these were. And your original lid stays on and everything. And then to power it, you tie into those little power nubs there and run the cords into your engine and plug it into whatever system you see fit. But yeah, what I'm going to start with, or continue with, is getting these guys painted out at my painting stump. Try and paint outside because it's stinky. You also find some detail parts in there, like this guy. Those just go on the top around the square. I think they're compressors, maybe, that stick out of the top. But I'll do a more detailed video of some of the assembly. But I thought that at least get some people going. Start printing on the big engine parts, the cab, and once you get all 4 main sections printed, start gluing them together and support them the best you can. So I'll start painting. Best of luck.